I'm waiting for Lucas to leave. Because he makes a lot of noise. Can you just sit down? I need to start my recording. I need to speak to my girls. So let's bring our little guest of honor closer to the camera. I've missed you guys. It's been a week more than a week since I spoke to you guys. We made the restock and so many things were moving that I didn't have time to film, edit, and post this YouTube video. This episode, believe it or not, it takes so much time, and also posting on so many platforms. It's me. It's all me. Like I do everything, editing everything myself. So we're here now. Sorry about the delay. And I'm covering my eye because I have an eye infection. I don't know if you guys can see it. I don't know the name in English, but it's called an orgelet, and shit. Either way, today I want to talk to you guys about something that I've seen a lot of comments on, which is my feminine energy. And this is really funny to me because I didn't even notice this. I guess it was like an organic transformation I've gone because I've never been like this. You guys have told me that, I make you guys feel calm, which is amazing. Again, like these compliments make me very, very happy. But, it's just, for me, I'm just myself. And thanks to you guys, I've noticed the transformation I've gone through. And I want to tell you why I think that happened. And if I look down, I have like so many notes that I wrote for you guys on my computer because this topic is super personal to me. It's actually something that I struggled with growing up. My perception of what it means to be a woman, my perception on, equality, how we're treated, and it really influenced the way that I quite literally grew up suppressing my feminine energy. And now, to give you some background, when I was like very young, I was so feminine. Like I was always wearing princess outfits. I was obsessed with pink. I was obsessed with glitter. I wanted to be a princess. I was always doing my makeup, doing my nails, and I was very, very girly. But it hit me at a point where, I guess I started to become more conscious of things around me and what people were saying. I don't really know what age. If I had to guess, it would be around like the age of 8, where I started to see the way that women were treated around me. This is really cultural. I grew up in Mexico. It's a patriarchal society. I didn't like the way people around me or people in my family would treat women, would speak about women. It was always very diminishing and not respectful. I was also brought up in a way that, I had to learn to cook. School was an option. And I just, had to look for a good husband to get married to and stay with my family and, very traditional. And I never wanted that for myself. I always wanted, I wouldn't say I always wanted to lead, but I always wanted to do something of value. I always wanted to help others. When I was growing up, I was so set on becoming a doctor. But regardless, like whatever I could, I would always want to help people. And I knew very early on that would never be possible if I just stayed at home and popped out kids and, did what my parents and my family expected of me. It would be much more difficult. And then I would see news articles or women that were incredibly inspiring. And for me, especially in art, I always celebrated women that were breaking barriers in any industry. And as I grew up, I was very, very obsessed with art and particularly singing. I wanted to be a singer all my life. I don't know why I ever stopped. I mean, I do know the story, but it's really sad for another time. But I always felt different intuitively. Like, I don't know how to explain this to you guys, but I always knew, I felt it deep in my bones, that I was here for a reason, that I was going to do something much bigger than what everyone around me was doing. I knew that I was destined for, I wouldn't say destined for greatness because that sounds very cocky and not humble at all. But if I could translate that feeling, I always knew that where I grew up, was not where I needed to be, that I could do bigger things and be in bigger places. Like that was my calling. And I was also different. I looked very different from most people in my family. Everybody pretty much has the same look. I definitely stuck out like a sore thumb. I hit puberty when I was like 10. no, not even. Like I started puberty so early on, to the point where I would go to soccer games when I was little. Like I would have to take my birth certificate because I would tower over all of the girls that I was playing soccer with, and the parents would like ask the referee to stop the game or take me out because it was unfair. And I would actually be one of the youngest ones on the field. But again, like I hit puberty very quickly. I looked very different. My voice was always very deep. So I did feel like an outlier, but I didn't internalize it to a point where I was ashamed, because my mom, like, she's the cutest thing ever. She's always told me every single day how beautiful I am and that I'm so special. So, she reinforced this into my head. Like, still to this day, she tells me that every time I speak to her. So I never really had an issue. I thought my uniqueness was an asset. But in that way and in that thought process, I was always drawn to women that were different. And in terms of singing, I had a very low voice. I hit puberty so quickly. I've had this voice that I speak to you, like my voice today is the same voice from when I was 12 years old. So when I was singing music, I wasn't singing pop songs. That hurts me. Like I cannot hit those notes. They're too high and they're not delicious. Like I like to sing in a way that it feels really good and it feels good in my body and in my heart. So I was always singing music from Bjork, like Sade, like literally the soundtrack from The Gladiator. I always looked to these women that maybe they weren't headlining everything, but their music had so much depth and they were doing their own thing. And that was very inspiring to me. But, with these differences and listening to music that was way out of my generation, not alienated me, but I wasn't really able to relate to most of the girls my age. And this kind of set the stage for me to start suppressing my femininity. I don't know if that will make sense to you guys, but I internalized everything that I was seeing around me, the way that women were being treated around me, that they were being talked about. I also grew up in Texas, and unfortunately, maybe it was just my bad luck, but the boys in my school, the way that they would just talk about women and just have zero respect for sensitive topics, and they were just jerks. I realized that if I wanted to be respected, if I wanted to break out from where I am and do big things and do incredible things, I would have to become a tomboy and really suppress this feminine energy that I had. And it didn't help, that I was also listening to different things. I was unable to relate to all of my friends that were around me because, they were listening to Taylor Swift and other, pop songs. And I couldn't stand them because I was, in a different genre. I was in a different era, old souls. If you know, you know. So from loving pink and loving glitter, from one day to another, it was like, absolutely not. We're going to be strong. We're going to be, I wouldn't even say neutral, but like not feminine. I refused to go shopping, didn't care about heels, didn't care about accessories, nothing. It was sneakers, it was jeans, it was a t-shirt, it was simple. And from that moment on, it became what I liked. Like I genuinely did love it. And I just thought that tapping into my femininity would put me in a vulnerable position of being treated less than. Crazy. I cannot believe I used to think that way, but we're confessing now. I felt like being one of the boys or being like them, being liked by them would get me the respect that it's not that I craved. It's just that I thought that, being strong like a man would get me to the places that I needed to be and would make me feel heard. And like I said, I used to play soccer growing up, football, whatever you want to call it. And that didn't help because most of the girls in my school, they didn't care about soccer. So I was always playing with the boys. I wouldn't say I had more friends that were guys. I would just spend all of my recess time or most of my conversations at school, I would spend them speaking to guys. I didn't care to hang out with them after school, but I would spend most time with them. And it didn't help at all that I loved playing video games with my little brother. And so, we had so many similarities, but yet I still always craved a female friendship. But it was very difficult for me to make friends growing up. Not only because I would move schools all of the time, but because I wasn't dressing the same way as all the other girls. I didn't have the same interests as them. We didn't even have the same music genre to sing along to. I hate to say this, but in my school, there were a lot of mean girls and there was always drama at lunchtime. So even when I was trying to spend some time with them, I would just not even speak because it's always, oh my God, did you see what she's wearing? Oh my God, can you believe he said this to me, or all these things. And for me, I grew up very quickly. I matured way faster than anybody else my age. And it was just very difficult for me to relate to them or even care to have these conversations because I don't like to just talk about drama and talk about other people behind their backs. It's something that my mom ingrained in me since I was little. So as a result, I just tried to put all of my energy into fostering one good friendship and trying to find that one girl that had the same morals as me, had the same mindset. That was really difficult. And it got easier as I got older, got into middle school, high school. High school is so much easier, but yet still, moving around schools, I lost those friendships quite quickly. But at the end of the day, during that year that I did have that friendship, it was just me and her, which was great. But I never had, that group of friends. I was never surrounded by feminine energy, a lot of female friends. And I know for sure, like, I've been hurt by so many women in my life since I was little, like physically hurt. Like I have scars on my body from really, really, really mean girls growing up. So that probably scarred me as well as in, not being able to trust girls that easily. So I know for sure that has to play into it. But the point I'm trying to make here is that I wanted to suppress my feminine side. I would hang out a lot with guys because of our interests and because I didn't have the same interests as most of the girls around me. And then I would have just one female friend, which they were great, but it would have been better with more. I would have loved more. And that all did not help my formation. What a big word. Formation as in I always lacked this balance between my masculine and my feminine self. And it's very important to have a delicate balance between the two. I mean, Lucas has his feminine side and his masculine side. We all play with these energies. We all have them. And it's very important to have a balance because when you don't, well, you'll run into the same issues that I had. I didn't make the best choices for myself when it came to job opportunities, relationships, or, life decisions, going to college, what my major was going to be, what I wanted to do, what I was going to write about in my essay. Obviously I was going to make every single decision, every emotional decision, logical decision with the prejudice that I had built for so many years. This is where my life completely shocked me when I met Lucas. Before I met Lucas, I had many other relationships. Sorry. It's okay. I mean, we all did. And in these relationships, I was always the one in control because I always felt like the other person every guy I've ever been with before Lucas, I never thought that they could take care of me. Like I always thought I was the stronger one in the relationship. And it also, again, why would I choose that person? Because I was fine with that. And it's not a bad thing until it is. It was a bad thing for me personally because I was never fully relaxed in any of those relationships. I felt like I had to direct the show or I had to do so much. And I felt like I was the one that was carrying the relationship for the longest time. And it felt right to me. Like I thought that was me. That was going to be my life. And it felt like it was the only way. And I thought it was completely normal. And I remember I was never fulfilled with those relationships. Like after a long time had passed, like I was in relationships for over a year. And after that time, I was like so unfulfilled because I was not being taken care of in the relationship because I wasn't allowing it and I was just too masculine and it was just not like it was more of a friendship than anything. Crazy. But again, I didn't know better until I met Lucas. And when I met Lucas, it was the first time I had met someone that was so strong in their masculine. Lucas is so alpha. Like I'm not joking. Like many guys and many people, like when they meet them, they either love him or they're scared of him. Like, I'm not joking. I mean, Lucas is very straightforward. He's not going to butter anything up. He's from Europe. That's more like in the US. We always say good job to everything. We always say, oh, that's amazing, even though we think it's shit. He's not like that. He'll tell you the truth, kindly, but he'll tell you the truth. And, being always very strong and secure of himself, very strong in his masculine. Many people in my family, predominantly men that were not secure in themselves, they were very uncomfortable around Lucas. And I was like, woo, that sounds like a you problem more than a him problem. So that's also very funny. Like I got the opposite of everything that I've ever dated. And when I met Lucas, apart from the fact that it was love at first sight, I thought it was bullshit. Again, like I had been in loveless relationships before. I didn't really believe in it. I thought it was just like a human exchange to be in a relationship or married or whatever. Fuck, was I wrong. It was love at first sight, but his energy, it was very strong. I wouldn't say I felt uncomfortable, but I was like, whoa, like this was definitely a very unnatural experience for me, like to be with somebody like him. I guess if I would have met him in more of a friendly sense and we didn't have that romantic chemistry, I'm pretty sure I would just be very, very inspired by him in the way he carries himself because it's he's iconic. Talking about the way his masculinity affected our relationship and completely took away all of that prejudice and very badly constructed. Can I explain it? In the easiest terms, Lucas came into my life and he completely wiped away all the prejudice that I had on what it meant to be a woman, on always having to be in control, of always having to be in your masculine. For the first time in my life, I had met a true gentleman. But not like, the typical shit that we're all used to, like basic manners. Maybe it's just me, again, not having the best luck, but like a true gentleman. Like every single decision that he would make or that, any gesture, he would always think of me. And in the purest sense, like I don't mean that at all in a stereotypical way. What I mean by this is that he knows how to hold space for me in ways that I never thought were possible or were normal. And for the first time in my life, I felt a weight being lifted off of my shoulders. I didn't feel like I had to always be in control. To be taken care of and to always be in somebody's thoughts and, have him prove that to you every single freaking day and the way that he would take care of me. Like, I don't know if you guys have seen my videos. Like I posted this on TikTok once. The way we walk in the street, like he's like my personal bodyguard. It's ridiculous. Like just from the way he protects me, like from getting hit by a pedestrian or like getting elbowed or like those tiny little things, brings me coffee in bed. They all might be a little bit stereotypical, but like from the smallest to the biggest things, he doesn't miss one. And that for me was like a whoa, massive shock. And it lifted a weight off of my shoulders that was immense. And naturally, I started to be more at rest, more at peace. And I started to just like have a rise in my feminine energy because now I had to balance out that masculinity. It couldn't always be me taking control of the situation or we would clash heads. So I would let him do that because it was amazing. Who doesn't want that? But in a way, I had to counterbalance that. And my feminine energy just started to wake up. And I didn't even realize this. And it didn't happen overnight. It happened over a long period of time. I think it was our entire first year that we dated. I saw a massive change from the way that I would carry myself, the way that I would decorate my room, the way that I would dress myself. Like I started to buy myself more feminine things. I started to do my nails. Like I've never really done my nails, only when I was little. I started to do my makeup. I started to learn how to do eyeliner. It was crazy. It was so beautiful to see that I was finally learning to relax and step into my femininity. And that was magical for so many reasons. But my favorite one is that I had completely lost touch with my intuition. And that is something that I had that was very strong when I was younger. My intuition was crazy. Like I have crazy stories of things that I've been able to perceive, sense, and a whole lot more when I was younger. And I had completely lost that. And I was like, well, whatever. Everything came back the moment I started to step into my real feminine energy. Like I have this sixth sense back. I have this intuition. I listen to my gut. It is such a powerful thing. And at the same time, I was also learning to be kinder. I started to become so much more like kind to my family, to Lucas. I was so much more relaxed. It was so crazy. Like I was able to give so much more of myself, which is one of the most powerful things, again, about being a woman, taking care of your family, taking care of life. And again, crazy shit. I thought I was not capable of those things. Growing up, I was like, oh, that is so not me. No, it's very much me. And it's something I really enjoy now. And the more I've stepped into this space, the more I saw how beautiful it is to embrace this part of myself. Like I said, I started to wear more makeup. I started to finally wear skirts, wanting to buy beautiful dresses, doing my hair. And for the first time in a long time, I felt feminine. I felt like a princess. I mean, Lucas made me feel that way. He didn't make me feel like I had to fight for that respect. It was always there. And now, this experience made me realize that this girl boss era that we're in, I briefly left it. Now I'm full back. I mean, you guys have seen, my life is Mila Mend. I don't even sleep anymore. But that's okay because I love it. Sometimes we feel like we have to be in our masculine energy to be respected in our professional lives. At least for me, I feel like that if I'm not strong, assertive, and in control, I will not be taken seriously. I will not be respected. And that's true in a world where everybody's competing for success, a promotion, a better job. It's so easy for us to lose touch of our feminine energy. And it's so important that we don't let that happen because, like I said, this energy is so powerful. It is nurturing. It is our intuition. It is healing. And that is a power that is completely unique to women. We have the ability to create life, to create a space for healing, to communicate warmth like no one else can. And that is something that has to be deeply celebrated. And especially, when I was creating Mila Mand and the creative direction, like where I wanted this brand to go, it was a massive exercise on connecting with what it means to be a woman. And what hopefully I've been trying to capture and to celebrate in all the branding and everything we do is, I want to constantly pay an homage to a woman, to the beauty of a female body, the power that we have within us. Like I said, we can create life. We bring so much strength with the world, and the world cannot function without us. And now it's so crazy to me that for years I wanted to downplay that part of myself. I made a massive mistake of seeing my feminine side as a weakness when I was younger, and now it is my superpower. But like I said, in your girl boss era, you still have to have that balance of masculinity. I can't even tell you how many calls I've been on trying to build and execute and do everything with Mila Mend, and you just do not get respected unless you bring out a little bit of your masculine energy. It's a sad truth. People get comfortable. It is what it is. And Lucas has taught me that. Anybody that is working under Lucas executes perfectly. With me in the beginning, they would get soft and they would get not lazy, but they would get comfortable. And then we wouldn't get the results that we needed. That's another topic for another time. And having this delicate balance and being able to foster both whenever you need them. Don't get me wrong. It's not about swinging too far in either direction. We both have these energies within us. We need both. And they really have their places to make us successful in our everyday lives. In my work, you will see me step into a masculine energy. When I'm towards the creative aspect of my work, when I'm speaking to you guys, oh my God, I am so not there. Like I am completely into my feminine side. And same with Lucas, when he comes home, when he's with me, it's like, what we say, our boyfriends, like with their friends are completely different people than when they're in the same room with their girlfriends. They become childlike, they become cute, and they become, more themselves or more off guard, more into their feminine. I don't know what that is. Again, I'm not an expert in this. To end this episode, I just want to say that you have to also remember we live in a world that is predominantly built for men, and a world that requires us to be competitive, where survival oftentimes means tapping into that masculine energy, and it can consume us. For the longest time, the world has tried to suppress women with not being able to vote, not being included in studies, not being able to go to school. I mean, it's ridiculous, like not being able to work, not being able to drive. It is so backwards. I mean, the witch trials as well. Fuck. Truly, it's just because we're so powerful, we're so intuitive, and we're so freaking intelligent. I mean, think about it. Why else would they not want us to be in leadership roles? Why do so many places still to this day deny women in education? I think that is because they're afraid of the power we hold when we step into ourselves fully. So if you've been spending your whole life trying to step into the mold of what you think will earn you respect, like I did, trying to suppress your femininity, I would definitely consider what little things you can do in your life to try and reconnect with it. It's a strength all on its own. And when you learn to balance both energies, I swear you will become unstoppable. My relationship was that light bulb moment, the cure that helped me bring that back out. I don't know what I would have done if I didn't meet Lucas. I think I would have been able to reconnect back with it if I had a community, if I had, more female friends or like a strong female figure with feminine energy to look up to. So I guess I would love to know. I mean, if you could tell me in the comments what's something that has helped you tap back into your energy, someone that you look up to, or any other thing, hobby, whatever you do that helps you reconnect with that part of yourself. So I can learn. I would love to know. Thanks for hearing me ramble about my life for the past, I don't know, however minutes this will be. All right, guys, I love you so much, and I'll see you next time. You guys always have to say bye to Milky. She smells so good. I just gave her a little bath. I love you. I love you.